It's not gonna go down the way you think it is.
Better Call Saul, the final season. Yes, one of the greatest shows of all time has finally come to an end, but did they stick the landing? Before I get into it, this is going to be full of spoilers for Better Call Saul Season 6, the whole entire series, Breaking Bad, El Camino. Fuck it, I'm going to talk about everything. At the end of Season 5, we see that Nacho helped kill Lalo's entire family. Kim and Jimmy are up to no good, and it's crazy to think that that's where we're at the end of Season 5, because where we're at the end of Season 6, it's completely different. So much happened in the season. There's so much they wrapped up, and it felt like they didn't rush anything. Everything felt perfect. That's what I'm going to say about Season 6 of Better Call Saul. It was perfect. Is it my favorite season of Better Call Saul? Maybe. Season 5 was pretty much perfect too, but I just love conclusions. I love when things are wrapped up well, and just like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul wrapped up the series perfectly. I can't imagine a better ending. I don't understand how Vince Gilligan and the crew can think of these scenarios, how these characters develop, and perfectly wrap up everything. It's something I'm honestly jealous of. It doesn't make any sense. If you think about it, if you put Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, El Camino, that's 11 seasons of television, I think around 125 episodes, and then a movie, and everything is virtually flawless. That is honestly such an achievement. To make 11 seasons of a show and both be considered the greatest shows of all time. A lot of people think Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad. I don't know if I would go there, but it is damn close. And that's insane to me, because when Breaking Bad ended, I never thought there'd be a show that would ever top Breaking Bad. And Better Call Saul is perfect in its own way. Better Call Saul is the best prequel I've ever seen. And I don't even think that's the biggest accomplishment that the show has. The biggest achievement, I would say, is that it stands alone as its own show, not just a Breaking Bad spinoff or prequel. There are parts of the show where you're invested in these Better Call Saul characters and have nothing to do with what's going on in Breaking Bad. And now let's talk about the Breaking Bad cameos at the end of the season, which I thought were put in perfectly. It wasn't like there's this big reveal that Walter did something or Jesse did something that we didn't see in Breaking Bad. It's little things they put in there to show Saul's downfall, to show that Walter and Saul just met each other at the worst possible time of their lives. And I just think that's brilliant. They showed these flashbacks and they had purpose, like Saul walking into Walter's high school. Or I love the flashback with Jesse and Kim, and we see that essentially Kim is one of the reasons why Jesse went to Saul in the first place. I'm just glad they didn't put these cameos in there just because fans wanted it. They just wanted a big fan service moment. They served its purpose. And I don't know why I was fearful of that. It seems like this crew never screws anything up. They do exactly what needs to be done to tell the story right. And I'm just so happy they were able to pull this off. Let's talk about the season a little bit more. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I can't believe where we start at the beginning of Season 6 and where we end at the end of Season 6. Because there's so much that happens. I mean, Nacho gets killed in the third episode of the season. And he goes out exactly the way he wanted to go out. I thought that was extremely well done. And then probably my second favorite episode of the season, or maybe third, I'm not sure, Plan and Execution. That whole episode was just riveting, just watching Kim and Saul's horrible plan to fuck over Howard, and then that amazing, crazy fucking ending where Lalo just murders Howard in front of them, and now you see why Jimmy is so scared of Lalo from Breaking Bad, and it's just tied together all perfectly. And Vince Gilligan is just the king of cliffhangers. I don't know how he does that. Breaking Bad had some of the best cliffhangers ever, and Better Call Saul has some of the best cliffhangers ever too, and that was one of them. And I just love after that happened, we see the complete downfall of Jimmy and Kim. I love in the next episode that Kim and Jimmy break up, and they don't really want to, but they kind of have to because they're both just awful when they're together. And it just cuts forward towards Jimmy as Saul now. And I think that has to do with that line that Mike would always say, and Jimmy even says it in the season, one day you're going to wake up, go to work, and just completely forget that this happened. And I like to think that that flash forward of Jimmy waking up and going to work was the first time he didn't think about Kim. And it was just such an abrupt cut, and that is the last time we get that sort of timeline. I just thought that was perfectly done. And everything they did with Kim, I personally thought Kim was going to be the first person to that vacuum be gone, but I loved everything they did with her because she's a heartbreaking character as well. She's probably like the most brilliant lawyer they've ever seen, but for some reason she has this dark side to her that Jimmy just lets out, and she feels extremely guilty about everything that's happened. The scene where Kim breaks down the bus just shows how much guilt she's carrying, and that was also an excellent performance by Ray Seahorn, and she deserves an Emmy. Everything. She hasn't won an Emmy. This series hasn't won one Emmy, which is mind-blowing to me. And Bob Odenkirk definitely deserves an Emmy too. I think they're both going to finally get it. And now let's talk about the actual finale, because I really didn't know what to expect. It seemed like this hot streak was going to go on for too long. I didn't know if they could wrap it up perfectly. I even told Adam that I thought Saul was going to go to jail, and that's exactly what happened. And I think that's what needed to happen. It seems like Walter got the fate he deserved, which was death. Jesse got the fate that he deserved, which was freedom, even though he's seen some shit. And then I think Saul needed to go to prison because how much he disrespected the law, all the things he's done, and I just love the way he went out. He finally admitted all the things that he's done, all the guilt that he's carrying. Instead of running, instead of conning his way out, he decides to take it and drop this persona as Saul Goodman and finally become James McGill again. I also just love the fact that he was facing a 30-year sentence and he talked him down to 7 years, which was going to happen. But I just love that monologue where he basically says Walter White couldn't have done it without him, which is true. And I just absolutely love how the series ends with Jimmy and Kim smoking a cig, just like how the series started. And I love that final shot of them just looking at each other outside the prison walls. And it's a heartbreaking ending, but it's an ending that needed to happen. This is the type of show, just like Breaking Bad, where there's not really going to be a happy ending. It's bittersweet in a way, but ultimately sad. And like I said, I just can't believe that they're able to pull off this achievement to completely wrap up this huge saga of crime and this weird underworld of making meth and just sketchy bullshit to an end, and it being perfect. The show itself, too, is probably the best looking show I've ever seen. I think Better Call Saul, cinematography-wise, is the best show you can look at. Breaking Bad, yeah, it has that cinematography towards later seasons. I'm rewatching season 1 right now, and you could just tell that the filmmakers behind Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul got better as the years went on. And Better Call Saul, I think, is the best looking show I've ever seen. In the end, though, like I've been saying, it's just an amazing feat that they were able to do this. Better Call Saul is the best prequel I've ever seen, but it's also one of the best shows I've ever seen. To wrap up 11 seasons in a movie and ultimately telling one of the best stories I've ever seen. I'm going to give season 6 of Better Call Saul 10 Davey Daves.
It's over! It's over!
Yes, I'm rewatching Breaking Bad again because I felt like I needed to, just because there's so much in the final season that connects to Breaking Bad. And I kind of want to see how Jimmy is when we finally get to season 2, because I know he's going to be acting like Saul, but it's just crazy to see how things are now. I read somewhere that ultimately this whole story of Breaking Bad, if you think about it, the main characters really are Saul, Gus, and Mike. And Walter and Jesse are side characters that came in and just ruined everything, which I think is a really great way to look at this whole story. So, Better Call Saul. Let me know what you guys thought of the series finale. I'm curious to hear. Thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.